Hello everybody out there watching. Welcome to the newest edition of Medfield People, and we have a really unique visit with people today. I think most of you would know this gentleman to my left, Mark Fisher, but you don't know the people next to him, and we're going to find out who they are and the story that they've got to tell. That I hope you'll be thrilled and will listen for the entire segment. So Mark, you are Mark.
I am Mark.
And next to Mark is?
Yeah, I've got my mother here, obviously, Helen.
Helen.
Yeah.
Helen Fisher. Your
Helen
maiden
Fisher.
name was?
Clark.
Clark.
Yes.
And next to you is your cousin?
Yes.
Yes, Andrea Coulter-Aroni.
Okay, and and you're related to the same family, I think.
Yes, I'm one of the Clarks too. My grandmother was a Clark, Laura Cordelia Clark.
Sounds great. Now Mark's going to give us a little background on the family itself, and then we'll go on from there.
Yeah. So I thought what I'd do first is we just kind of talk a little bit about the family history here, and then we can kind of, I think, jump in with some stories I think that people will probably find pretty interesting. But you know, we're obviously on my mother's side and stuff, we're related to the Clarks. That's one of the 13 families that founded Medfield. That settled in 1650s. And stuff like came over from Dedham. And so Joseph Clark was the patriarch, if you want to think of it as the family there. So they established here. I'm the 11th generation for family here in
That still amazes me.
It is.
I don't know any other family that stayed 11 generations in one area.
Yeah, because usually people, obviously over time, people are going to move on and stuff like that. You know, particularly in a small town, it'd be one thing if it was in a city where you might have a big family, a lot of relatives. You'd have, I think, a better shot of having a lot of people sticking around. With a small town like Medfield, more often than not, people are going to move on and stuff like that. So it's yeah. So just kind of, not that we really planned it, it just kind of happened that way, obviously. But so their original plot of land was on South Street, going south of Brothers Market, going down towards just a little bit past Oak Street, between Oak and Metacomet.
Okay.
And that section, kind of across from the entrance for the high school, where the land's flat there, that was the original grant of 10 acres. So once again, we're the 13 founding families, and that's where the original parcel was for the family. So that's where they first started in Medfield, and then went from there. So a number of other kind of famous kind of relatives that went along. They had 9 children. One of his sons, Daniel, was wounded when the Indians came and burned Medfield, and did die from the wounds. And then one of his other sons, too, his second oldest son, Benjamin, ended up becoming and building the Peak House. Right along where Pound Street intersects with Main Street. So there's a connection there, obviously, with that part of the Clark family.
I knew it was Clark, but I didn't realize it was you guys, Clark.
Yep.
Yes,
So it's
it
definitely,
is.
so
It's great.
He was the second oldest son, Benjamin. And so we're tied in through his oldest son, which was Joseph, which was the original son, and they had 9 children. So that's kind of where the lineage kind of starts. And then I went through all these names. There's like billions of them over the years, you know. Yeah. But after Joseph, you know, there was a Solomon, and then there were 3 Davids in a row, Thomas, and then a Lanson, which I think we'll chit-chat a little bit about, because he was kind of the last great landowner in Medfield and stuff. Lanson, which was my great-grandfather, and Lewis was my grandfather. So I think we'll have some good stories to talk about, which was the last family homestead, which was on South Street Extension. 213 South Street.
213.
So the house is still there.
I'm trying to picture it. On the left or the right as you go
On the
down?
right side. Yeah,
And
just
it's
not too
Clark
far.
Road.
Before Juniper
Road.
Clark? Okay.
Yeah, Clark
That
Road's
goes
right
there,
there.
okay.
Yeah, so it's
Yes.
right there. The house obviously is right on the street.
Makes a sense,
now.
a Clark house.
Yeah.
Yes.
I should have thought
You
of
know,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the big old house, and like I said, now it's right on the street. Obviously, years ago the street was a lot narrower, so it was set back a bit. But of course, you know, in modern times now, where the streets get wider and stuff.
And there is
it's just
excuse my interruption,
Yeah.
there is a picture at the at the Historical Society of the farm, and it shows how far back it was from the road at that point. And Alanson is right on the fence. They had a fence in front of
Oh,
it,
yeah,
and he's
yeah.
right there, front and center.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
nice.
really kind of,
Yeah.
but you know, at least up until that point, you know, the family, we were pretty land rich a couple of generations ago. We were looking at some of the deeds and stuff, and Lanson owned 66 acres of land all the way along South Street extension there from the house. That was his farm, and they also owned another 19 acres up on Noon Hill. So a lot of land.
Wow.
A lot of land
Yes,
back
a
then.
lot of land.
Long gone now. It's all houses, obviously, and things like that. But at least at the time, he was really the last great, you know, the last great landowner in the family there. But that's kind of like the last big, you know, family homestead.
And he was the
that's still
son of
seen.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Why did they leave Dedham to come here, do you know?
I'm sure it must have been just land, I would think, like anything else, probably spread out a bit. I think a lot of times people back then felt crowded pretty quickly, I think, you know, and that they needed to have more room, I think, probably to farm and hunt and things like that. And I'm sure probably Dedham at the time was probably getting pretty crowded. You know,
Relatively
in
speaking.
their perspective, no, in their
Yeah.
perspective,
I
I
know.
think, you know, because I think that's pretty much what I think all the families did back then.
Yeah, I would
They
agree
would just
with
keep
that.
going west,
Yeah.
you know, to get more farmland and have a little more
That's right.
space, you know. Or and as the families grew, the kids all had to move out and go someplace,
That's
right, to
right.
settle
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And with everyone having these big families, there's a lot of people that, you know, had to
And
keep moving.
they did send people forward to find out what the land was like farther west, if you will,
Yeah.
to find out if there were good meadows and water and so forth. And Medfield was the place that they settled because they said it was great. They loved the fields, they loved the meadows, they loved the access to the Charles,
Yeah.
all that kind of thing. I think that had a play in it too.
Yeah, definitely, yeah, I think so, yeah. And I think too back then, well, everyone was using wood for everything, so you know, Medfield certainly wasn't as wooded after a while as what you know, it is now.
You're
You know,
right.
I think it was mostly all fields, I think,
right.
you know, for farming
Probably.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously very agricultural.
And they had to
stuff
earn a
like-
living.
Yeah,
That's
definitely,
right.
yeah, definitely.
They did.
Definitely, yeah. So it was, yeah, so it's really kind of nice to have a little family here and a little bit of roots. And
I
things
think
like
it's
that,
you have
know.
longer roots than anybody I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So it's kind of nice.
You do.
It is nice.
and
It's a
stuff
great
like that.
feeling. It's a good
Yeah.
feeling of history and belonging.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really, I've always loved hearing the stories.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
Makes you feel grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and I think Andrea's got a lot of nice things, I think, from the family, stuff like that. She's ended up with a lot of the some of the artifacts and collections.
Some of
and
them,
stuff
yes,
like that from the
yes,
family, which
yes.
is very, very nice. and
I
stuff like
have
that.
had, there was Mark and Lucille own it now, but there was a pie table that was used on the farm where my grandmother grew up. My grandmother was Laura, one of Alanson's daughters, and they had a drop leaf table that was specifically used for rolling the pastry and making the pies, which they did pretty much every day. And it came to my mother, who was one of her daughters, and came to me, and it was refinished, and now it belongs to Mark and Lucille. So
That's right.
I want to share whatever I have.
Yeah.
How big is it?
Wonderful.
It's pretty big. How big would you say, Mark?
Like this big?
Oh, no.
No,
like
no,
a
big.
regular drop
Right.
leaf
Oh, it's a good
table.
size
Yes,
table.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
It's 4
Oh,
feet,
okay.
4 feet long. And
About
with a
that.
couple- Yeah,
Well,
with
Oh,
a
okay.
couple
I was
of-
thinking of a round one, you know,
no,
a
no.
couple of
pie
drops
size.
and stuff like that. No,
Yeah.
it's in really great shape too. It's
It is.
amazing.
It's
you know,
amazing.
All
How
those
things will
years.
last, you know, sometimes, you know, if it's made well to begin with
Yeah,
and stuff.
it's true.
It's really, really good.
Oh, that's
stuff.
great to have it.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
You ever made a pie on it?
No, not one. I
She
use the
makes
kitchen
pies,
counter.
so
I do
know
make
that
pies,
she does
but
make pies, yeah.
It'd be kind of fun to have you try it.
I
Yeah,
know it
right.
would be.
Yeah.
Take a picture.
I'll come
Take a
over and say,
picture.
"Can I borrow the table?"
Yeah, take a picture, yeah, making a pie.
Do you have any mementos, Helen?
Not really. No, but I have lots of memories about, particularly my grandfather. This would be a Lanson,
Yeah.
and we always call him Granddaddy.
That's right.
Granddaddy, and I loved going there, going down to the farm. This was when the farm was on that corner of South Street Extension and Clark Road.
Okay. Yep.
Well, Clark, of course. And yeah, I'd love to go and visit. He was such a nice, handsome, tall man, and he loved to tell stories. He loved to tell stories to me, and he'd tell stories by drawing stickmen figures, you know.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love
you
it.
told me that. and I
Little
forgot.
stick man, and
That's right.
I just was enthralled with it, and of course, and I'd always like to go when I went down as often as I could, because with the animals, he had work horses and cows and chickens, and I'd love to ride on the hay wagon He'd get with the two workhorses, farm plugs, he used to call them, and farm plugs, and we'd go down the field, way down, way down the hill, heading towards the river.
'Cause that is
way
quite a
down,
hill.
Yeah, way down that hill, and the hay would be all baled and all that sort of thing, and I'd love it. Then I'd jump on the back and ride back, and amongst the hay. I just thought it was great, just great. And I was by myself, and then I watched them as they loaded the hay, from the wagon up, clamp it, and then it goes across and drops in the barn for the animals, and that was great fun.
Where were you living at this point?
I was living not too far away, further down on South Street on the left.
On the left, okay, yep.
On the old part of South Street or the extension part of South Street?
Extension.
Okay.
Just not too far from his farm.
Oh, okay.
So I just walked down. It was just
It's
great.
easy.
Yeah.
Just great, yeah. And one thing I when I was visiting one day, Granddaddy, he had chickens running around, and he was going to get one ready, I guess, for roasting. And I couldn't believe what he did. What he did to that poor little chicken. He cut the head right off.
Yeah.
Right off the chicken. And the chicken went bouncing around, still alive but no head. I couldn't believe it. Just a, young person,
That's a
6
really
or 7.
sticks
I
with
mean,
you,
it really, I was,
Horrified?
yeah, horrified. I mean, really. But anyway.
Did you eat any that night?
No, I didn't.
I was just curious.
Didn't stay for dinner. That's for sure. I wasn't staying for dinner. But anyway, but I loved going down there. Yeah, and but one thing, visiting, I became sick with scarlet fever. And while I was visiting, and of course, and my Aunt Lillian, that would be my father's sister. She was a nurse. So she was going to take care of me. I was probably 6 or 7 or right in there. And of course, at that time, everything were quarantined. I couldn't leave there, and no one could come and visit me.
Yeah, that's right.
I was very, very sick. I remember going up in big feather bed upstairs, and I had, I don't know, I must have had toys somehow there to play with.
Yeah.
But after being so sick and quarantined, all my blankets and towels and clothing were, destroyed or burned or whatever they did, plus all my toys and my dolls.
Yeah, so you lost all your...
I lost my
everything.
dolls,
Everything.
yeah.
Well, we didn't do that. My sister had scarlet fever. We didn't do that.
Yeah.
We bleached them. Everything was bleached.
Yeah.
Well, I lost all mine.
Wow.
All
Yeah.
my, toys and things. So that was quite traumatic.
Sure.
No one could come and visit me, of course.
No.
But I was little then.
Who was
Yeah.
the doctor back then?
Must have been Dr. Park,
Okay, Dr. Parker. Okay.
probably. Dr. Park. Remember Dr. Park?
Oh, yeah, wonderful doctor.
Dr.
He was,
Park,
He was
yeah.
everybody's doctor.
Yeah.
I've heard nice
Before-
things about him.
Yeah.
I met him once
Dr.
or twice,
Stagg
but
came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, right. So anyway.
Great doctor.
and where were you living then?
Then I wasn't.
Well, your first time in Medfield, right to Winter
Oh,
Street, or
when Mom and Dad got married, they bought a home down on Spring Street,
Okay.
right before you take the right to go to South Street Extension.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And it
yeah.
was just a little. It was almost not even as big as an apartment now, looking back on it,
Yeah.
because they had 1 bedroom, 1 bath, a galley kitchen, and a living room.
Yeah.
And they bought it from Phil Leeds and moved in there, and that's where I had my first 0 to 5 years, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not to get off topic, but we had a great goat.
Yes, you
we
did.
Remember Fat Goat?
Yes, Fat
Yes.
Goat. Ate everything.
Ate all the poison ivy. Dad was
And the,
very allergic to poison ivy, and
But
of
the
course,
goat could eat the poison
oh,
ivy?
they love it. It's
Isn't
like
it
pizza
amazing?
for
Isn't
them.
it amazing how it
Pizza.
doesn't
They love
react?
it. Oh, he would get all the way
Really?
up the tree as far as his hind legs would allow him to eat that
the
ivy.
poison?
oh my God,
Really?
that's
He was a
fun.
good
Yeah.
sized goat.
He was
was
quite
good,
a big
strong.
goat, and he would get away
Yeah.
occasionally.
Is that house still there?
Yes, in fact, that's where the Magnusons moved.
Okay, I'll
They
have to
bought
look
it
next
from
time.
Dad and Mom and enlarged it, of course, so they had more children. And yes, it's still there.
What was the traffic like in that area when you guys were growing up at different times?
Not heavy.
Not much?
Not heavy, no.
Pretty
Not
non-existent.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
you know,
really.
yeah. Not much. Yeah,
No.
traffic.
You know,
yeah.
because Mom, when you were growing up in Medfield, how many people lived in Medfield? At
Well,
the
you
time?
know, it was funny. They always people would ask us, you know, what the population of Medfield was, and we'd say, well, probably 1,500, 1,500 at the state hospital, and the other 1,500 in town.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that's-
half and half, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a story
Yeah.
about Ray Lord when he opened the store.
Yes,
He was
that's
looking for a house with a certain population, a town,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and somebody told him the population was 4,000 to 6,000 in Medfield, and he
Yeah.
said, perfect sized town. So he bought the property and got ready to go, and he found out half the population was at the
Was
state
at the
hospital.
state hospital,
Just what
yeah.
you're talking about.
It's true.
right.
It's true. That's what it went by.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So where else did the Clarks live around here in Medfield?
Long ago, there was on the corner of Main Street, 109, and
Yeah.
Bridge Street.
Yeah.
That
Main
was
and
a
Bridge,
Clark
okay.
place
Okay.
too.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because when the boys had to do the house for
Yeah.
Richard in
Oh,
middle
yeah,
school,
yeah.
that was the
that
one.
was another one that
yeah.
they picked and stuff
was
like
And
another
that.
that's on the
one
right side as you go down toward Millis?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So,
I do know that one.
Yeah.
I don't know of some of the
Any more?
others.
No,
Well,
yeah.
oh, I
Go ahead.
sorry, I didn't
No.
mean to interrupt.
No.
No, good.
I don't know who lives there, but it's, let's see. We have Friendlies now, and then we have a couple of houses, and we have a beautiful big old house on the right that was a Clark house too.
Oh, really?
At one
before,
point.
before the cemetery.
Yes.
Before you get to the cemetery.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And then, and I'm not quite, because it's hard to tell what's been done over the years, but I know one of the early Clarks too also had built a house on the corner of Curve Street where it runs into 27 and stuff
Okay.
like that. So I think kind of where the Chief Reynolds' house
Sure.
was.
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
absolutely.
Right there.
Yeah, I
So I
see.
think right around there where
I
that,
see.
you know what I mean? So now whether that was maybe the original lot of land there and then, got built up, who knows?
I know.
But I know
Yeah,
that was one
that's
of
true.
one of the grants. One of the kids ended up there. One of the sons ended up there.
Now, were they all farmers that you know of?
They
I
weren't
don't
going way
know.
back?
I don't know.
Helen, would you know?
I don't know.
Actually, it
Most-
says in Tilden's that a couple of them were not farmers, that
Yeah.
they went another way.
You did some other trades,
Yeah.
which I suppose would make
Yeah.
sense after a
Well,
while.
they had
right?
so many kids.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
have
they
9
did.
children.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
they all
nine,
had
yeah.
to do different things.
Things,
probably.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would probably make sense anyways, because you'd want to get people learn different skills if you could. Whether it was with wood or with iron or leather or anything like
Sure.
that. So that you'd have all the
Exactly.
different skills perhaps in the family, so you could survive.
That's
right.
right.
Make things and stuff like
Absolutely.
that survive. and things
Sure.
like that, I would think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy back then. You're talking about.
No.
You have a picture of one of the Clarks
I
there?
do. This is Joseph. It's a silhouette of Joseph.
And what year was Joseph alive?
Yeah.
Back-
yeah.
In the 16.
This is test.
1600s.
Yeah. In fact,
16.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, they
Look,
came in
He came
1651,
in
so
50,
yeah.
yeah.
He died in 1684.
oh, so we know it's somewhere in
Okay,
that,
so
that
somewhere in
30
that
period.
range.
Right,
Yes,
stuff like that. Yeah.
1684.
So quite a while.
Yeah.
And who
Very-
took the picture? Who did the
Cheney,
pictures?
a Cheney. I don't know which one though because it's really too tiny. It just says Cheney underneath the silhouette.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he must
Very
have.
nice.
He
Yeah.
must have done it.
Yeah. Which was another long time,
Absolutely.
old Medfield
Yeah,
family.
yeah,
and
sure
stuff
is.
like that.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, and everything gets so intermarried and intermixed back then, because when you only have a handful of people,
right.
they all end up marrying each other over time with a bunch of kids. You can't help
true.
it. It gets
The
all
other
mixed
interesting
in.
thing I found when I was going through Tilden's is not only the distinct names they gave the girls, but
Oh yes. The name.
in fact, my husband will often tease me about me not acting too much like Mehitabel would have acted long ago and far away.
Mehitabel, yeah.
But they also, if there was a lot of death, of course, because there was a lot of sickness.
Yeah.
So they might have had a child who was 2 or maybe 1 and died of
Died,
something.
sure.
And then they would have another child of the same sex and name it the same name.
Yeah, happened in our family too.
And just keep,
Yeah,
just keep
they,
going.
They
Doing
like
that.
that
It's
name.
Kind of
Yeah,
sad
that's
in a
right.
way.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's really kind of sad, but I think a lot of children died that would not have died if they were alive today. You
Oh,
know,
I'm
Oh,
sure.
no,
absolutely.
things
Sure.
are so much
Days, yeah.
different.
Yeah, things are
Yeah,
much different
so
back
So I wonder
then.
what poor Joseph Clark would do if he got sick back then.
I don't
Who would he
know.
go to?
Yeah.
I really don't know. They
No.
probably had an idea of certain herbs that they came
Yeah.
from England with and determined what they might be good for.
I think
And
everything
it-
else is just a chance, I think.
I
yeah.
would think so.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a guess on my part, but that's
Yeah.
what I would think.
yeah.
Did any of the other Clarks become town officials like Mark?
Yes, back then, I
Okay,
can't
who?
remember all the
Somebody
names.
was
but
a selectman.
Somebody was a
Oh, really?
selectman. One
Yes,
of the
there was.
Josephs, actually,
Yeah,
I
and the
believe.
first Joseph was a selectman, and
Selectman.
then,
Oh,
one
okay.
of his
Yes.
sons was.
Yes.
So I think over time, I think quite a few of them through the generations were.
Good
were
for you
selectmen
guys.
and stuff
Town
like that.
official.
Town
Yeah.
officials.
Yeah.
You have a lot to be
Yeah,
proud of
sure.
then,
Yeah.
because you lived here all those years, but you served the town.
Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
Exactly.
And they were in wars, too, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
I'm just jealous. I wish because we had many generations in Philadelphia, but it's a very large, much larger space, so
Space,
it was
yeah.
very, very different.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very different.
Yeah.
But I think the idea of being in a small town with all these people, I think is dynamite.
Yeah, yeah.
It is. It's a nice feeling.
Who would be the most famous Clark? The one who was the most valuable to the family?
Well, the
Well,
one we always hear about is
It's
Joseph.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really
we-
do, whether
Yeah.
or not that be the
That's
case.
or not.
But I think
Yeah.
he was pretty prominent at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so,
And
too.
Granddaddy did his share too?
I think so, Lansing too, I think really, if you think about it,
do.
you know, a good sized farm on South Street Extension, there, a
Yeah.
lot of land.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I think he was probably.
Farming,
pretty
definitely,
yeah.
definitely farming.
Definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
So I think it
Yeah.
was quite,
Yeah,
uh,
he had a lot of cows.
Cows, yeah.
Mom and my aunt Shirley used to tell me stories about being in the barn and mucking out the barn. And actually, at one point, one of them was caught underneath the trap door where you put all the extra muck that you muck out.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh wonderful.
Yes, yes.
That's a memory.
Yes, it is.
Oh, dear.
It is.
Yeah.
Not a good one necessarily for my mother, but
Yeah.
nonetheless.
Oh, it was-
yeah.
yeah.
And then there was the time when one of Granddaddy's bulls got out. He had a bull, and the bull got out of the pen.
Oh, gosh.
And my Aunt Shirley was walking along the street, and the bull charged her. And of course, she was scared, and so she ran. And the bull ran after her. And Uncle Louis, who is Mark's grandfather and Helen's father, happened along and was stopped the car, got out, and took a huge big stick. He had no fear of anything regarding a bull, and he went. This is the story I received, and he went back after the bull, and he whacked the bull good and got the bull back into the pen.
That's
So,
amazing.
Yeah.
They're big. It's not like a little animal. They're pretty
No,
big.
it was
Yeah.
a big animal, but he
Big.
went right after the bull, so the bull wouldn't get my aunt.
Yeah.
Jeepers.
Yeah.
But things like that I'm sure happen all the time. You know that, with working with all the big animals and things like that.
I
you
guess
just
so.
never know what could happen for accidents and stuff
They get
with
out.
the kids and stuff like that. With
Sure.
you know, things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. you
But,
know, yeah.
yeah.
But I know the town's really changed a lot, obviously, since.
Oh.
since
Yes,
you've
yes.
gone,
Oh,
sure,
I
thank
know
God,
it.
and everything,
Absolutely, yeah.
the
We were
size.
talking about the, well, Mark has been mentioning, it's the state hospital, and that purchase and so forth. Well, I can remember the state hospital when I was young. I had one of my best friends, Midge, Margaret Mahoney. We called her Midge. Well, her father was superintendent up there. They lived on the avenue, up there on the right in the avenue. And I would visit her and when I could. And we used to go up to see the movies. There was a movie house
Yep.
there.
They had the movies.
Movies. The patients, or I guess, well, patients, no. Well, I
Yeah,
guess
they were.
maybe, I
Residents,
guess
what do you
patients,
call them?
residents or
Whatever.
whatever
Yeah,
they
yeah.
or whatever we call. They were downstairs, and we went upstairs to view the movies. We just thought it was great. They were a little rowdy some days, if it was a funny movie,
Yeah.
but it was great to do that. Yeah.
And you would just be around on the grounds and stuff, in
Yeah.
the state hospital and stuff like that.
Yeah, they were, of course, they were all locked up.
Mm-hmm.
They would sort of hoot and holler once in a while going by, say some things.
Oh, yeah.
But it,
That's
you know,
true. I
yeah,
recall things like that
going,
now. Yeah,
going
now that you
by,
mention
but didn't bother us any, And then we would also, some days we'd go down to the canoeing,
Yeah.
down by the down by the pump house.
Pump house.
Pump house,
sure.
yep.
And
Down
exactly.
there, we'd, take a canoe, and Midge and I would go canoeing up
Yeah.
the Charles.
Yeah.
It was great fun.
Did she keep a canoe there in her house on the grounds
No.
of the hospital, or?
No, yeah, they were right there
Okay.
at the pumping
pump house,
station, yeah. They had the canoes,
Okay.
so they could use, so that was great. Yeah, we thought it was great fun,
Wow.
And they're rebuilding that, so that's going to be, part of the, the redevelopment. Eventually, there'll be a
Yep.
brand new canoe launch right at the same
know.
spot.
That
which
was,
is
that was a
that'll be-
subcommittee
that'll
that
be
I was on.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great fun.
Yeah.
It's actually for emergency access. That's why we really wanted to make sure we
Wonderful.
had it, because we've had several drownings, of course, on the river
Yes.
over the years that I've lived here.
Yes.
And we,
that'd be a
we
good
needed
spot to
we
get in
needed
there.
an emergency access. So
Exactly, yeah.
I was on the subcommittee, and we merged with the police and fire department. What was the best? And that's what we decided to,
yeah.
making the canoe launch a little bit bigger and a little bit safer to get
Yeah.
the canoe in. Now we have another spot further up
Yeah.
the river.
Yeah.
Oh, big goodie.
But it's important to have it.
Yeah, oh, definitely,
Okay.
yeah.
So the hospital was full back then.
It was full. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very,
And
very
even
much.
when I was a teen, it was still operating.
Yes.
And when I was on the drill team
Yes.
in high school, we went up there and put on a show
Show?
for them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They love performances,
Yeah, they
people,
did.
you know, yeah.
Yeah, and there was a baseball field up there because I
Yeah,
remember
that's
playing
right.
Little League.
Yeah,
Little
my
League,
husband was
that's
a
right.
coach,
Right,
That's
Little
right,
League field
yes,
right
that's
there.
right, you did that,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
Little
must have been
League.
right in back of the Clark.
It wasn't
building or
back,
something,
it was
the
Yeah, it
back.
was in back in,
because,
yes.
Because it seems to me, I think you could kind of sit on the hill and watch the game outside. I seem
And
to
there were a
remember
few
banking
benches,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Bench-
yeah.
yeah.
I
But
remember,
the
yeah.
patients would come out and watch
Sure.
occasionally, which I
Sure.
thought was kind of
Those
nice.
that were,
Yeah.
you know,
Able to do that and stuff, yeah.
So how many Clarks are buried in the town cemetery? Must
Oh
be a
my
ton.
goodness, many. Our ancestors immediately, Anson, who married Clara Monroe, and some of her relatives are right down by the pond where you
The
enter
pond.
from Main Street.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're right
That's
in
a
that
beautiful
section.
and they
location.
go up the
Section,
hill,
yeah.
don't they, son?
They go up the hill.
Up the hill.
Because I remember as a child when we'd do Memorial Day, I remember running up the hill and then up the other hill,
Yeah.
and there was a big Clark monument up there. Well, no, I shouldn't say monument. It was big to me as a child, but it was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
a stone.
Stone, yes.
And that was one of them, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they're kind of all over.
Yeah, yeah. And then, of course, with all the intermarriage and stuff like that, you just get all kinds of, they're all over the place, between the Kings, the
That's
intermarriage
right.
with
Like
the
the Kingsbury,
Kingsburys
sure.
Right.
and all the,
Cousins and-
yeah, a lot
yes,
of the different
exactly,
families and
sure.
stuff that were in
Yeah.
Medfield.
That's right.
You get all the mixing there and stuff, so they really are spread out all over the place.
They are.
Yes.
They really are. Yeah. Like I said, with everyone having 9 kids or so, all these families, it doesn't take much to really get a lot of people milling around.
Fill
I
up
only
the
had 6.
cemetery.
Yeah,
And that was when they had just that section.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
but I think the death of their kids had to be much higher than it would
I'm
be.
Oh,
sure,
I'm sure
I'm
they
sure
did.
it
Yeah,
was,
I'm
yes.
sure they did.
And that's
And
probably
that's
part of the
why
reason they had the 9.
that-
Oh,
yeah.
exactly.
Because they weren't
Yeah.
going to end up with 9 at the end.
No,
No,
I'm
no,
sure
they
they're
would,
figuring
yeah,
they-
and that's
yeah.
why they do the names. They
That's
use
right.
them,
That's right.
yeah.
That's
Keep
right.
moving
That's
stuff
true.
like that, yeah,
And back
definitely.
in 1650s, I can't imagine what you do when you need serious medical help, because I
No.
don't think there's anybody that's trained until, I
Yeah.
don't know when the first doctors were actually licensed.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, too.
That's-
Or when
Yeah.
they
I don't
were,
know.
they
Or when they
became-
were
came to
here or
Medfield.
in
Yeah.
the area.
Yeah, or
or-
even in the area
I-
and stuff,
I don't know.
There was one before Dr. Park I remember Mom talking about, but I cannot remember the name. And Aunt Lillian worked with him.
Oh, yeah, Aunt Lillian,
Aunt
yes.
Lillian. She
Yeah.
was the one, she was our go-to in the family, even
Okay.
when I was young.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was my grandmother's sister and one of the 5 of Alanson's children. And she was the one that would take care of
Everybody,
anybody who in the family who was ill.
Yeah, yeah.
So she really had the knowledge, or at least
She
innate
did,
knowledge
yes.
of,
She
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
for medical
Yeah.
knowledge.
And
Kinda
she
had a
really
good sense of
did.
what was wrong.
She
and stuff
really
like
did,
that,
yeah.
And figure it out, yeah.
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 And the schools have changed a few a few times over those years.
Oh, yes.
What in
they-
God's name was there for the poor people in the 1650s? One room
Probably.
schoolhouse, probably?
Yeah,
I would think
probably.
so.
Well, they
yeah.
had one up on School Street.
There's
Yeah.
one on the corner of
That's
School
right.
and
That
North.
would've- yeah.
And one
Okay.
down south.
They had one near the old post office house where Zebra is. That
Right.
was a small
And
schoolhouse.
Mom and Auntie went to the
There's one down on South Street too.
one where Dr. Stagg lived.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly
yeah,
what I'm
around-
thinking.
around
Exactly
Wheelock.
right.
Ralph Wheelock
Ralph
before it
Wheelock,
burned.
that-
Yeah.
that's-
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
they went to that one.
Yeah,
And there
and
was,
then-
as you say, there was one on South Street.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they got the big fancy new high school just in time for Mom when she was in high school at Dale Street, the
Yeah,
big-
yeah, that's
the big
right.
new
I know it,
building.
yeah, because we went for a while, we went to Fort Apache, we called
That's
that.
right,
Yeah.
we still
At
did when I
Fort
went through.
Apache.
Faf Center.
Fort Apache.
Yeah,
the Faf
the
Center.
Faf Center, yeah. And we went there for a little interim while they were
Yeah.
building the high
New
school.
high school and
The,
stuff like
the
that.
big, yeah.
And then they used that again when they were building the addition to Memorial.
Yeah,
When I
oh,
was
yes,
going from
Memorial,
4th grade
yeah.
to 5th
Oh, I
grade.
had
Really?
kids. Had kids in
Really?
that.
Yes, I
Yeah,
was
they
down there
switched
for
back
4th
in there?
grade.
Oh.
It was
Yeah,
half
they-
half days because I had
Oh,
one
yes.
4th grader and one 5th grader.
Yeah,
and
right, yeah,
one would
half
go in the
days.
morning and one would go in the
Yeah, we
afternoon.
went half days, that's
Right.
right.
It was crazy.
It
And then I was back there
crazy.
again for junior high.
Were you?
Yes.
Yes,
I mean,
junior
it
high.
was
Couldn't get rid of it.
I
Yeah,
know.
that
Can't get rid
building.
of the place.
Yeah,
Won't
yeah,
go.
it's just one of those.
Yeah.
Everything changes though.
It does.
Do you ever wonder what Joseph Clark would think if he came back and saw this place today?
I
If
think
he'd be happy?
amazed.
He'd
He'd
be
probably be
amazed.
happy to see the Peak House, I would
Yeah, I
imagine.
know.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
there's
that
still
was-
something
Yeah.
that's still standing.
That's really,
Right.
that's
Probably would be
really
happy to see
so
Peak House.
nice
Would, I'm
to
sure.
see the
But
Peak
everything
House.
else would probably just amaze him.
Yeah.
Now, how many Clarks lived in the Peak House?
10 children, I know that
I know,
story.
I can't imagine how
I
10
know, how
fit
did you fit
in
people
that.
in that?
I
'Cause
was
it's not
amazed.
very big.
No, but the upstairs is bigger than I thought it would be when I
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
saw it. When I
I'm
saw
sure
it the
that's
first
what
It
time.
they all
is bigger.
slept.
They must have
Yeah.
just laid right out, you
Just
know.
had pallets or something that
Yeah.
they
They
laid
just
on.
lay on the,
right.
on the
Blank-
ground. That was it.
blankets
Yeah,
or
straw or-
straw or
or
Just
whatever.
line up,
Yeah.
and that would be
That's
it.
my
Every
guess.
square
Yeah,
inch,
Can't imagine.
amazing though.
I
But,
know,
yeah.
I know. Things were a
I
little
know 10
rougher back
children.
then. Yeah,
I love
Yes.
It's a great, it's a great building.
yeah.
It's a great
It really
building,
is.
the Peak House, you
It
know.
is.
It's nice to have it open later, you know, in the
Yeah,
summer
yeah,
for
for
people
people
to
to
visit.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Absolutely,
yeah.
definitely.
The good thing back then is there wasn't any traffic problems, so
That's
they didn't
true.
have to listen to the cars.
That's
I
true.
know,
Didn't have to listen to the
no,
cars.
it's
So
true.
But then there could be a fire, and then it's a whole different thing, as we know, because so many of the big old houses went down in different
Yeah.
fires
Oh, I
over the
know.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just more luck, more than anything else. Just that in some respects the house survived. You know, it just
Yeah.
just
It's,
lucky.
Lucky,
That's
Lucky
yes.
that it
yeah.
didn't burn down.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
It is.
and that people were interested in saving it and stuff like that, or not bulldozing it or whatever.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
great.
stuff like that,
Wow.
yeah, with everything
Yeah.
else gone. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really something. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
boy. But yeah, because in high school with the Dale Street School when it opened, you were just a handful of kids in the class. and
Oh,
stuff
absolutely.
Because
a
it's
small
World War
class.
II. World War
Yeah,
II.
small class. Got smaller and smaller by the time I graduated.
Yeah.
You know, there was 13 of us. Yeah.
So pretty-
And actually most of them, I don't know where they all are, but a lot of them have passed away.
yeah, yeah.
That I went to school with, but it was,
Yeah.
small group.
I have a
Yeah.
picture of Graham's graduating class.
Oh, really?
6.
Oh, 6. Oh, see, better than
Wow.
mine.
Yeah, with Aunt Mabel.
With Aunt Mabel, I see. Oh, gee, yeah.
So she and her sister were in the same class. They
Isn't that-
graduated, yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But a lot of changes, wonderful memories.
Absolutely. How many Clarks in the town today? Now, you guys. Anybody else that's related to you?
Well, I think distant relations, there are some and stuff like that, sure. You know, different branches that are branched off the tree. And
In
stuff like that.
Medfield?
In Medfield, yeah, over time and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
oh,
But not that we
King-
keep up or anything
No,
like
we
that.
don't.
Yeah,
No, I don't anyway.
yeah.
No.
No, I think many of them may have gone farther afield.
Field, yeah.
I'm farther afield.
Yeah, but you didn't used to be.
I didn't used to
And
be.
Mom was,
I know.
you
it.
and Mom were here all that
The
time.
time, I know it. Yeah, it was great. Yeah. So, but
I think you have a lot to be proud about.
yes, well,
I think so.
we-
I really
we
do.
think
We are
so,
proud
yes.
of it.
yeah.
What's your
yeah.
favorite family story?
Gee,
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I love the granddaddy story.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
I like
And
that
the
story.
hay wagon and of course the chicken
With no head?
with the no head. I just couldn't believe that.
I do remember Mom saying the hurricane of '38. Uncle Charles,
Oh yes.
yes, was in Boston trying to get out to Medfield, and it took hours and hours because trees were all over the place, and they
bet.
didn't really know at that point what it actually was, other than a terrifically awful storm.
Yeah.
And I do remember Mom telling me that, and she was in college at the time, 1938. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
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 And she went to college in Boston, so she said coming out in the train was really dicey,
I
but
bet.
they made
Yeah.
it.
Yes. Yeah.
And you could really give her, I mean, that's really something to be able to, in that day and age, yeah, to be able to get back and forth to Boston and stuff like that.
Because we
you
had
know.
Medfield Junction with the trains.
Oh,
that
the
just
train
came right through.
station.
Yeah.
And that's
Train-
what they did. A whole
Yes.
bunch of Medfield kids would do that and go to school in Boston.
Boston.
And they had friends from Millis who
Oh yes.
got on the train in Millis,
Yeah.
you know, and then stopped at Medfield and went all the way in and with making different stops. And they had their friends on the train.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's what they did to go to school.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
Now, which line was that? So was that the one that's abandoned now? Is that the one that would, I remember, go through Dover and stuff? I'm trying to think which way that line went, and I'm
To
not
be
sure.
honest, Mark, I'm not sure.
Sure, and because the junction there has got off of West Street. It's got it's
Yes.
got the intersection
That's
there
right.
with the train tracks. I'm wondering if that was
Could have
the
been.
older line that's not used anymore.
was
That
gonna
would have
say,
gone through
Judy.
Dover into Needham and Newton, maybe, and in that way.
It probably is.
Probably.
those
I rode the
railroad
train in,
tracks.
the train was still here when I came at the end of '64.
Mhm.
And then they discontinued it in '67, and I was told from lack of ridership.
Yeah.
Oh
So
really?
I went in twice on the train
Yeah.
to Boston. That was it. So I don't even remember the route. I didn't know where I was going anyway. I was new to the area.
Yeah.
I was going
Sure.
wherever the train went.
When,
And hopefully, I
Yeah.
hope I get off
Yeah,
at the right
you
spot.
needed to
Right
be.
spot,
Yeah,
yes,
'cause I don't
see.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, another change though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bus used to be a bus.
Bus,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, I took the bus lots of times.
Greyhound.
Yes, that was nice.
I took the bus too
Sure.
to Boston. Yeah, it was great.
I mean, that went for a long time too, into
Long-
the, I don't know whether it was into the
Part-
80s or something like that. I mean, it went quite a long time, the bus route through Medfield all the
Yes,
time.
it
to
did,
Boston.
yeah.
And then it switched and became Brush Hill. I remember that.
Yes.
And that
Brush
stopped.
Hill,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stopped.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people that would take the bus every day to go
That's
into
right.
work. and
Exactly. Oh,
buses like
sure.
that,
Yes, yeah.
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 You know, Craig's father did that because
Did
he
he?
worked at the telephone company, I think, you know, downtown Boston. So you would have
Sure,
taken that
yeah.
bus
Sure.
every day
Yeah, yeah.
to downtown Boston. Must have been to South Station, I would assume, and then maybe
Yeah.
walk
Yeah.
over to
Walk,
work or something like that.
something,
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah, that was very very busy.
Yep.
Busy
was.
bus
Yeah.
bus route.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
I think it came from Milford,
Yes.
I
down
think so.
from
Yes,
Milford.
it
yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. Right
And,
through Dedham and everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
Right through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
West of Dedham.
Yeah.
And there was a bus when I was in junior high that took you to Framingham.
Oh
Because
yes.
remember that?
Yes.
They had movie theaters right in
Framingham.
downtown Framingham before that all
Oh.
changed over
That's
and so forth.
right.
And I would go with my friend. We'd get all dressed up like
Yeah.
we were so important.
Yeah.
And we would
Yeah.
catch the bus and we'd go over to Framingham and
Yeah.
we'd see the movie and then we'd come home again.
Wow.
Sure. I remember that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
used to do that
Yeah.
shopping.
Yes.
I used to go shopping.
Because there was some great
Things-
shops in
Yeah.
Things are a little
Yes.
different.
There was
yeah.
Yes, it is.
Gilchrist,
Gilchrist is a
Gilchrist.
big one, yes. J.C. Penney.
Jace, yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Did any of your family ever have small businesses here in Medfield? Little stores or
I don't
No,
nothing?
Any,
Nothing you know of?
no, not that I know of. No,
Yeah.
I'm just
We
curious.
had
I don't
lots
believe
of,
so.
we had lots of grocery stores way back. You know, we had
That's right.
A&P
Right.
and the Clover Farm. the Clover
First
Farm,
National we had.
First National, yeah. And then there was another one, was it a branch or something over by, where is it? Across from Zebras.
Oh,
And that
okay.
little
Oh,
plaza
yes.
in there. There
Okay.
was
George
Markets and
Sauer
stuff
had
like
a
Yeah, that's
grocery.
that's
George
the
Sauer
grocery.
had a
Was that,
grocery.
that's
Oh,
what it was.
that's
Oh,
right.
okay.
That's
So we
right.
had lots
Yes.
of
That one.
lots of
Yes.
little
Little
grocery
grocery
stores.
Little grocery
Stores.
stores. And there was also a grocery store where, is it J. Stewart, that salon now?
Okay.
It used to be Rexall
Oh,
Drug.
really?
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember that.
Rexall.
Yes.
Yeah, Rexall.
I remember
yeah.
Rexall.
That
Rexall,
was
yes.
long ago and far away.
Yeah.
That used to be a
Oh.
grocery store,
I
and my
remember
father
Rexall,
worked there when
yeah.
he first came to Medfield.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yes, and was married to Mom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see.
And before he got the job at Bird.
I see Bird, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then also at one point, Olive Potter. Remember Olive Potter?
Yeah, oh, I do know, yes.
She had a store there, and it was a clothing store for
Yes.
women.
Women,
And
yeah.
that's when my mom bought her suit for her wedding.
Yeah.
Her
Wow.
bridal
See,
suit.
yeah, she had lovely clothes
Oh,
in the
yeah.
store. Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
So
Yeah, I
all
remember
little
that.
stores. Well, that
Little
would make
store.
sense anyways, right? If people could kind of get local, if they
Local,
could get
yes.
something and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Because
it
didn't
was-
necessarily travel that far.
Yeah, it was, yeah, great.
Especially in the days without public transportation.
Oh,
It was
sure.
really
Oh, yeah.
important to have a local store.
And then there was
definitely.
Lord's.
That's
Lord's
right.
was-
Lord's.
Oh, Lord's.
Lord's store.
And Super
Yes.
Duper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Lord's,
I
yeah.
do miss that.
Yeah.
Brothers is lovely,
It
but I
is.
missed Lord's.
Yeah, I worked at Lord's for a little while.
Did
I
you?
did not very long because I worked at the soda fountain, and so forth. But evidently, my hands, I was doing, we didn't wear rubber gloves or anything, which I probably should have. But my hands got all red and sore, allergic to the detergent and the greases and the cleaning products. So I had to quit. But I worked a little while for Ray Lord.
Yeah.
A little while. Yeah.
Did any of the Clarks become teachers in Medfield or work for the fire department or police department?
My mother taught for years Medfield.
Your mother
Polly,
taught?
Oh, yeah,
Polly
yeah,
Atherton
yeah.
Coulter. Yeah.
Okay.
Winter day school.
Winter day school.
Winter
she had
day,
her own
that I know.
private school
Yeah.
for years, 25 years.
Yeah.
But before that, she was a teacher in Medfield. When I was 3 months old, she went back to teaching.
See, I didn't realize she'd worked for the town school. I knew she had her own school on Winter
Oh,
Street,
no,
but I
she
didn't know.
was very much a
Public-
public school
public
teacher
school.
for
That was
years.
before I
Yes,
came.
Yeah.
yes, she was.
Yeah, she taught second grade. And in fact, when I was in second grade, there were two second grade teachers, two first and two third at that point, because it was that small. And because she was my mother, they put me in Catherine Mafusi's room.
Oh yes, Catherine.
Who I know.
Mafusi,
Yeah,
yes.
but about I think it was the second or third week of school, I decided that I could roller skate on those old-fashioned roller skates that just hitched to your shoes.
Oh, yes.
And that I could make it down the hill, the steps by the Dale Street School, the
Oh,
front
clever.
of the Dale School. And this may be 4:30 in the afternoon or something, and I thought this would be great, you know. So down I went, and down I
I
went.
bet you did.
Broke my left arm.
Yeah.
And at that point, Mom and Dad lived across the street from the school.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's right.
On
yeah.
Adams.
Yeah,
Adams
Adams
Street.
Adams.
Street,
Oh, they
yeah.
lived on Adams too? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, they lived in Adams too. That was 5 to 10. 10 to present is winter. But anyway, my mother heard the screams because I took a look at my wrist, and my arm actually went just like this. It went up, and then it went up and straight over.
Yeah.
And I thought, something is wrong.
That doesn't look great.
So she called, my grandparents lived in town too. They lived on Frary at that point. And she called my grandmother,
Yeah.
and that was in the days when you would pick up and get the operator. And you'd give the operator the number, and I'll never forget, my grandmother's number was 194. I just had that embedded in my memory. And she called my grandmother, and she said, we're going to the hospital. She said, Andrea's broken her arm. And she called Dad, who was at Burt at that point.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
came home, and over we went to Leonard Moore's.
Leonard Morse, yeah.
And they set the arm, and I was in the cast for, 6 weeks, I guess.
That's usual, yeah.
And that was Macklin. William Macklin was the superintendent.
Oh, yeah.
And he said to my mother, he talked to my mother, and he said, you know, Polly, he said, she's your daughter. It's going to be second nature to have her in your class as an added student while she's recuperating with the arm.
Yes.
So I will talk to Catherine and explain it, and she'll be with you. Well, 6 weeks came and went, and the cast came off, and I stayed there for the year.
Which probably was, so unusual and stuff like that, because I don't know
Very
if they would
much so.
do that. You
Probably
probably
not.
don't do that now.
No, and they wouldn't have probably done it then. But I mean,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
such a small group
Right,
of
yeah,
teachers and
yeah.
so
Sure.
forth. I think that was why.
Yeah.
And he let me do it, which is great. And to
Yeah.
this day, the only B I ever received, all through elementary school, was from Pauline.
Oh,
Your mother.
My
she
mother.
gave you a B. Oh,
And I asked her about it years later. I said, "Why?" I said, "Everything else I ever didn't." It was, She said, "You could have done better."
yeah,
thought,
right,
okay.
right.
How about any police, firemen, any town highway department workers, anything like that in the cards?
I can't
Well, I
think.
You'd
of
think with
any.
that many of them, there
Yeah.
must have been
I know,
somebody
there
in a
must have
different
been somebody in
Maybe
fire
long ago,
or,
but I don't
Yeah.
know.
or
him
police,
personally.
Cemetery?
police, let's
I
see.
saw a little bit there just for Lewis that it looked like he worked part-time from time to time with the DPW. There's a little bit of reference in
Oh.
Richard's book
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
for the
I
follow-up.
think
Yeah.
you're
from
right.
that.
Yeah,
I think
Uncle
I sort of
Louis.
remember
So
that
Uncle
now.
Louis,
Uncle
okay.
Louis, yeah.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
Off
I
of
think
the
you're right,
side.
Mark.
Uncle Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think he did
think
work
so.
for the town. And he also did some tree work.
Yes, he did.
Tree
That's
work.
right too,
Yeah.
Helen.
That,
For
yeah.
Ellis
I
Allen
remember
or
hearing that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
for Ellis Allen's family or? Not?
Well, maybe maybe the father,
Yeah,
his
Ellis's
would be
father.
Charlie. Charlie, was it Charlie?
I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember. I knew him.
I can't think of, but it
I'm
would
trying
be
to remember,
Ellis's
too.
father.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't think.
Which
I
is
think he
gonna
did
bother
that
me.
sort of part time, weekends and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right. I do recall.
So they did do
you're right.
different things then.
They did. Yeah,
They did.
tree work. Yeah.
They did.
So that's
And,
healthy. That's
And
good.
fishing.
It is.
Of course, my father loved. My father
Oh, he
loved to
did.
fish.
She was a great hunter and fisher.
Yeah, and fishing. Yes, and so forth. He'd go down to the Charles River. Just go right down through the property, Granddaddy's farm, and keep walking over to the. Well, actually, it must have been the Stop River. Was
Stop
it the
River, yeah.
Stop
The
there
Stop
and then
River,
the
yeah.
Charles? Yeah.
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 Go fishing.
Would he hunt there too?
Probably.
Because there were no rules
I think-
against
Well,
Yeah,
I
against
know. I
it.
think they went up to
fishing.
Noon Hill
And we'd
too,
go up
didn't
to
they?
Noon
Oh, yeah,
Hill, I
Noon-
think.
yeah.
I think Noon
I
Hill.
think so.
You're probably
Yeah.
right, Noon Hill.
Yeah.
Sure.
But sure, no one cared back then. I mean,
Bang,
she
bang.
could
Now
put
there's
you
a gun
back.
club.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. so I think
Sure.
that's
But it was pretty wide open, I heard, for hunting years ago.
Oh, I
Yes,
would
it
think
was.
so. Yeah,
It
I'm
was.
sure.
Yeah.
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 I'm sure you could just go out your back door and I'm sure it didn't.
And bang,
no-
bang.
Bang, yeah.
Bang,
Other
yes,
people know.
right.
Can't
yeah.
imagine it.
You can't do that now. That's true. But I can't think of any in the fire department or the
No.
police
No.
Okay.
work.
No.
In the family.
Criminals? How about criminals? You have any
Well,
criminals?
we might have
We
had.
might have, but it might never have been spoken of if we did.
Right, yeah, not in print.
No,
not in
and
print.
not in print.
No, true. But
I've never heard any stories about that.
Okay.
No.
You probably would have heard, I would think.
I would think so because it would have been it'd be a great story. to-
Sure,
to
livens
pass
up a
down.
family.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right,
Someone
yeah.
was really
Yeah,
infamous.
Sure.
for
Yeah,
something
caught
like
for
that.
stealing a
For something
chicken or
like-
something.
Something,
You know,
yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But,
And I would assume some of them probably, whenever the fire department started with volunteers. I'm sure over the years, I'm sure.
Maybe.
They did.
Maybe.
I'm
might
sure
have been
they
volunteers
volunteered.
at
Yeah.
times.
They might have helped
Like
with
anything else, a small town, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
where
I'm
when
sure
that
they
pitches
would.
in,
If there was
stuff
a
will
big
be-
fire, they would
do that
go
stuff,
and
yeah.
help.
So any
Yeah.
other favorite memories you'd like to share with the folks at home before we close up?
I'm trying to think what else we. The state hospital was fun, and
No, I think the only thing was just, you always told just a quick story just about driving and stuff like that. And, there wasn't much traffic or cars around, so you could really kind of practice
I
driving
know.
wherever.
Remember that?
yes, with her mother,
I was in the back seat because I was just little at the time.
and I was the teacher, the instructor.
Okay.
You see, driving.
And your brother David's car.
Yes, it was an old Model A or G. I don't know which it was. But yes, we'd go. Andrea, she was so sweet. She'd always come with us anyway because she was no trouble. You see, she just would plop her in back. And I remember
No
trying.
seatbelts back
No.
then.
No, my word, no.
No.
And we used to practice down at the where the Pleasant Street.
Oh, the Grange.
Grange.
Yes.
So
Okay,
that's where
sure,
the
sure.
condominiums
Yes,
are.
I know
on
that.
the
Yes,
outside.
right. It was
Yes.
open field, so you
Yeah.
could just
Yeah.
go around that track before the tennis courts. There,
That's
you
right.
could just go around
Right
that
around,
track,
yeah.
and we did. Polly and I and Andrea.
Yeah.
We'd just practice and chug along.
along.
And it was great fun. Yeah.
Rumble seat in the car?
Yeah.
I don't think
I
so.
remember
Not
rumble
that one.
seats.
I
I don't think in
so.
that car there was.
But
No.
but it was this.
Oh yeah, the
Shift
stick.
stuff
Sure,
like
of
that.
course.
Yeah, pretty difficult.
Very,
to
yes,
drive.
but-
Yeah, because
but
it
it
wasn't
was-
that easy. Yeah.
But it was fun
it
to
was
learn.
fun.
It was fun to
It
learn.
was fun, and of course they'd stall the car, and I can remember many giggles.
And we'd be
Yeah.
laughing, But that's
Yeah,
when it
that
was
was fun.
open down there. It was open.
Yeah. to be
Well, it's
able to
been
drive
fun
around.
hearing from all this stuff from you guys. I
Yeah.
really appreciate your coming. I
Oh,
really,
well,
really
thank
do.
you.
Well, thank
I
you.
think it was
We've
great.
We've enjoyed it. It's
Absolutely
fun to
great.
rehash
That's
stories
right.
that
Yeah.
have gone
No,
on.
it makes me feel good. I didn't grow up here. I've only been here 52 years, so I'm a newbie, relatively speaking,
Yeah.
to what you folks have. And I told you before, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I wish I had it's the same family and all these generations in one spot. I really wish I had. It's a great story you people have. Well, thanks everybody
Thank
out there for listening to us today. And if you have any ideas for another show for Medfield people, my email is annmedfield@verizon.net. And I'd love to hear from you. Any suggestions at all, as long as they're decent and fun. And thanks again for all the Clark
welcome.
family
Thank you.
people.
You're
It was
welcome.
great.
Thank you.
We enjoyed it. Thank you.
You guys were great.
Thanks.